got to grow up. But when you're growing up in it, you don't understand you don't even understand a lot of the things that you're going through until you become an adult and get a chance to look back on your life and be like, wow, those things really had an effect on my life.
Right.
Like, I didn't have the role models I had. I had my brothers. I had two older brothers who lived in my house.
Right.
But by the time I was before my teenage years, they were already in the military. So growing up, and they didn't have a role model. They were living their life. So they didn't have time to. They were role models in their own sense, but they didn't have time to be a role model to a young boy. They wasn't fathers.
Right.
And that's was in our neighborhoods. There's no connection. I understand these young guys, and it just got worse over the years. But I was one of them. There's no connection to nothing. Know why? Because the old heads are not. Even if they're there, it's not enough.
Okay.
It's just not enough. And and part of me's a big part of me feel it because I've been through it. But growing up, I'm thinking certain things. You go outside, you see certain things you just see as the norm.
Okay.
Selling drugs. I come outside, I see people. I don't see it on the news. I see people selling drugs. Sometime in my hallway, sometimes in the lobby, in front of your building. You see this. So this becomes every day, and this because they don't sell drugs. Drugs is like a store.
Right.
They're open. They waiting for customers.
Right.
So you don't see it sometimes. You see it all the time.
Right.
So it's not even wrong to you because in your mind, when you come out, these guys are selling drugs. And these same guys that sell drugs, they're the ones getting into the fancy cars and all this.
Right.
And only time, so we connect that to success.
Right.
Young minds, you got to remember, this is how young minds are molded. We connect that to success.
Okay.
We see these guys walking to their BMW or Benzes or whatever Cadillac, whatever luxury cars.
Right.
And we like, wow.
How can I get that?
How can I get that? And so but we don't see the doctors, the black doctors.
Right.
We don't see us walking to our luxury cars and
Right.
stuff like that. That's not what we see.
Right.
Even the ownership, growing up in Brownsville, now there's a lot of black stores and stuff like that. But when you're growing up in Brownsville, we seen the Chinese people, the Arabic people, we seen everybody but us. And they'll say, oh, we're people of color just like you. But you're in my neighborhood. I can't open up in your neighborhood.
Exactly.
So, but going back, these things have an effect. So this is who my role models became, was these guys getting in these cars. And some of the guys had sense enough to say, hey, Jim, go get me something from the store and hand you a $20 bill. Back in the days, a 20 was 100 right now.
Right.
Hand you a $20 bill to go
Right.
get a bag of chips or something, and you go to hand them a change back, like, keep it. Now I definitely want to be, wow,
Right,
this is who I want to be.
Like, how do I get more of those 20s?
How do I get more of those 20s? and this is what these kids are going through, and my situation was different. I was raised in the church. I had to be two people.
Right.
Most people do, but I had to really be two people. I was raised in the church, right? So my mother had us in church Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday, and y'all don't know the fights I went through and the struggles I went through. Everybody, I'm the only one in my building going to church.
Going to church.
Man, y'all don't know the struggles I went through. So I had to be a little extra. You know what I'm saying? But I was the only one in church. Even the church, in the churches, who's in that? That's the only other ones you see getting in these cars and all that were the pastors.
Right.
So basically I had to live two lives. Church life with my mother, but as soon as I step out the door, I still got to deal with it. Watching the drug dealers and this and that and this and that, and watching the people. So my peers had a bigger influence on me than the church did.
Right.
And it's not the churches. I won't blame it on the churches. The church I went to. I won't blame it on the church I went to.
Okay.
And but this is what's happening. Your environment is what you do every day.
Right.
And when I go down, even when we were innocent to it, we knew what was going on. When we were going outside playing basketball and football and all this, because out in front of the yard, we knew what was going on, but we was innocent. We was innocent to it at that time, even though we knew, you know. But we knew we're natural hustlers,
Right.
you know. So we knew when that dude wanted something from the store. Yo, you need something from the store,
Yeah, that was
or
a
you
come
need
up.
right, or you need your car cleaned, or whatever, whatever. But that's some of us. Some of us wanted to be him. We had natural hustles like packing bags.
Right.
Right. We had a bunch of stores across the street, and anybody from Brownsville know we had the Big R, and you go Jetro, you go pack bags. I lived in what you call Tilden Projects, so you know you find all kind of. I had a hustle. The Spanish guys used to scrape ices and make ices. That was one of my hustles.
Yeah.
At like 10, 11 years old. So when I seen this dude, I was a natural hustler.
Right.
Still am. But when I seen this dude selling drugs every day, getting in his car, and I added 1 + 1. 2 to me was what he was doing.
Right.
You know.
It wasn't scraping the ices.
No.
You can make pennies on the dollar with
I
that.
made a lot of money scraping ices because me and my friends used to push the cart up to Pickens Avenue. Right? My mother used to be like, don't go now from outside the building. But we used to sneak it up when she moved. We used to sneak it up, and we used to make a lot of money. A block of ice like this big. We put it up, push the cart up to Pickens Avenue. If it's a good time, that block of ice be like this when we come back. Now this big block of ice in back of the building, it might take 5 days to get that thing down like that.
Right.
We get it down in a few minutes. So hustling became natural.
Okay.
You know, making 1, 2 became natural, but finding different ways to hustle didn't, because now with the smaller stores, they're not putting back. Well, they're not putting back in the communities.
Right.
They care less about the communities, to be honest with you. Some of them.
Right.
Most of them, I'm gonna say. So there's no way to do it there. Back in the days, McDonald's and all that was a young person's job.
Right.
Which now it ain't. So, but basically, this was my attraction to the game. I didn't even know I was being
You was being trained and didn't know it.
I was being trained and didn't know it. Going outside to play baseball in front of the building, you see transactions go on. At a young age, you know to turn your back because it ain't your business.
Right.
At a young age.
Right.
But you know what's going on.
Right.
So I'm just giving you a history of where this came. And as far as Mike Tyson, right, growing up in the neighborhood, when Mike Tyson became champ,
right,
I was in high school when he became champ, and he used to hang out with a dude in my building. Well, I ain't gonna say his name, but a big drug dealer in my building.
Okay.
Dude, I learned from just watching though.
Right.
But anyway, Mike Tyson used to come in the building with him. So, like the first few times seeing him, you starstruck. It ain't like now you got your camera and you can get pictures.
Right.
Because I mean, he used to come, he used to talk to us, and you know, so it was
to be
like
so natural and normal.
Natural and normal.
Right.
And as I got older, a lot of dudes I was around. Well, matter of fact, one guy, me and him were real tight. We hustled together.
Okay.
Basically. This was Mike Tyson's right hand man.
Right.
So, I mean, it was times we was around, and I got some funny like. Okay, I'm gonna give you one. We in the diner, right? But you know, I'm doing wrong, so I'm dirty.
Right.
And Mike Tyson, he had just got knocked out by Buster Douglas. So he come in with these big shades, and he run up on my partner, Ooey. He run up on my partner,
right,
acting like he gonna punch him. But so he was like, so I was like, whoa, who's this? And I looked when he took the glasses off. It's Mike Tyson. Now I'm even though I'm a little old, I'm still starstruck. I'm human,
Right.
Okay, oh, that's Mike, And he said, yeah, come on, y'all don't, let's go out to breakfast. When we was at a breakfast spot, he gonna say, come on, let's go out to breakfast.
Right.
And but I was, like I said, I was dirty, so I told him, I said, nah, I'm gonna go my way. But I mean, in the neighborhood, you always know when Mike is at a dice game.
Okay.
Because it's a big crowd.
Mm.
Was
he good at it?
No, but his money was long. So when your money long, if my money can't compete with your money,
right.
you could stand a little. Dice is a game of luck. I mean,
right.
CeeLo, we play CeeLo. Craps is more skill because it's 2 dice, but CeeLo is more luck because it's 3 dice.
Yeah.
So how long can I stand for him to be unlucky? So if he's lucky 10 times in a row, that's my money. That's
right.
all my money.
Yeah.
He could be unlucky 40 times in a row and still have money for more. One time we in the club, right? And my God bless it, he's dead now. But God bless the dead, my man Hemp. He sent Mike back where Mike had to go leave the club, go get some more money and come back. And all of us got paid off of Mike. We side betting. I'm side betting, getting a couple thousand.
Right.
So but I mean, you would have thought. I mean, if you let these TV, and I think when Mike was in these places, he was in his natural element.
Right.
So he didn't have to act.
Okay. He
was who he was. So he lost. He just left, came back, got some more money. But it's stuff like that. So me being around him was me being around other people who knew him.
Okay.
Or being in the same place at the same time.
Okay.
But as far as Brownsville, you got to hear his story, because when I heard his story of Brownsville, now everybody's story is different. Same neighborhood's different story. I was protected in my house.
Okay.
My mother, my brothers, my sister. She was like, that's like having 2 mothers. Anybody with older sister, you're like, yeah, that's your wife, so you know. But I was protected. But when I'm hearing their stories, like Shannon Briggs, his mother was a drug addict.
Okay.
I think Mike Tyson said his mother was I don't want to misquote him. I think he was saying his mother was a prostitute or whatever.
Right.
A drug addict too, though. I mean, a drug addict. But anyway, they lost their mothers at young ages.
Mm.
And what we don't realize, when you lose your mother, right, at a young age,
right, that destroys you.
You lose God.
Right.
Let me tell you what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And people disagree. I don't care if you disagree, though. But kids only know about God what they're taught.
Right.
So to a kid hurt himself. What's the first thing he say?
And calling out the mama.
Mama.
They're looking for mama.
Kid, that's his first love, his first nurturer, or whatever. Right. So imagine losing that before you even understand what God is.
Mm.
So, their struggle was different than my struggle in the same neighborhood.
Right.
I had a friend, God bless the dead, I born. But we used to go, his mother was a dope fiend.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So, it was times that, his mother, he had to search for meals.
Right.
Just watching dudes come in and out of his house. You know what they doing with your mother. He knew. I remember one time he cried. We like 9 and 10 years old.
Mm.
Could you imagine? He lived with that. He was outside his. We go to his house. He outside his door crying like, yo, what's wrong? My mother in there. She won't answer the door. She didn't answer the door because she had a man in there.
Wow.
So, a lot of things that happen in other households in the same building.
Right.
Some people's, especially the crack era, some people's mothers was crackheads, had people selling crack out their house.
Right.
So, this is the hand some people are dealt.
Okay.
So, but And growing up in Brownsville, it was interesting. But like I said, it was just a way of life. Like we were normal kids, but we were dealt a certain hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I wouldn't even, you know what? I think that's why I got so much time.
Mm. So you actually did time for you doing whatever you were doing in the drug game.
Yes, I'm a natural hustler, and I followed what I saw as an opportunity, and that's what I seen it as, an opportunity.
Okay.
Some people actually, that's all they had, all they knew, and all they had to do. I wasn't that person.
Mm-hmm.
Even like I said, my mother was in the church.
Right.
So I had a job in high school. I had a job in the church as a security guard, just like this building we in.
Right.
On Sundays I would guard the cars.
Okay.
And this is in high school.
Right.
And on other days I would on Sundays I would guard the cars, and on other days I would just make sure nobody break into the property.
Right.
Right. I didn't realize what that was. He didn't need that, but I didn't realize that me, Mark, and Mike.
Right.
I didn't realize what that was until I got older.
Right.
That was his way of keeping us off the street.
Mm.
So he paid us to be there to keep us. He didn't need that. He could have got real security.
Right.
And he might have been paying us what, $120 a week or something like that.
Right.
Which
He
was
saw
a lot
some
of money
kids
back
that
there.
needed help. And he wanted that to be a place of refuge and to teach you guys the game of, hey, this could actually be a business if you keep yourself clean, if you, stick close to me, I'll show you some more things.
Yes. And let me tell you the people, with that past, let me tell you the people who I played basketball with the Winans.
Okay.
He had all these big church people.
Right.
Or performers, whatever. Matter of fact, at his funeral, I think T.D. Jakes spoke at his funeral. He was a mega church, but he was a small church when my mother was going there.
Okay.
And he grew up. He blew up. He had schools, everything. So he had us. He was very influential, but we always had access to him.
Mm.
But I didn't know how to take advantage of that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now he had his flaws, but I didn't know how to take advantage of what he was doing for me.
Right.
Anybody in power, they're gonna have flaws.
Right.
But it's and sometimes I say let's not focus so much on the flaws, but let's look at the good that the person's bringing. When they make their mistake, realize that they're human.
Right.
But let's look at the good that they're doing, and that's same thing with myself or anybody.
Right. So I know I was talking to you in the past, and you had mentioned that you was in prison with mobsters such as Sammy the Bull and John Gotti. So how was that?
Well, when I got busted in 1990, right? I was 20 years old. So I get locked up. I didn't even know what the feds was.
Okay.
I didn't know what federal and state. I didn't know the difference.
Right.
Yeah. And so I'm talking junk. Me and my co-defendant Boo Bear, God bless the dead. That's my right hand man. But we in there, we talking junk. Oh, just give us a bail. Just give us a bail. Everything they say to us, just give us a bail. I had broke my wrist. I jumped out a window,
mm-hmm.
and I landed. When I landed, I broke my wrist, getting away from them. And they was asking me, do I want medical attention? I said, nah, just get me a bail, because I'm getting up out of there. I'll be home. Probably be home. I'm saying stuff like, I will probably be home before you.
Didn't understand what was before you.
And they said, nah, y'all in trouble. This the big boys. I'm like, man, just get me a, they told us, this the feds. I'm like, we like, all right, tell the feds, just get us in front of a judge, get us a bail. We getting out of here. Well, when we went in front of that judge, the bail was $1 million, and they said, yes, sir. I said, whoa, and they said that you're facing 27 years to life.
Oh my gosh, I would have fainted. I've been done.
But see, they didn't catch nothing. So I'm like, okay, just give. I'm like, now it's not just give us a bail. I'm like, whoa. So, I mean, so when we get to MCC, that's the MCC Brooklyn.
Okay.
That was the only in New York. That was the only federal holding place.
Okay.
Well, they had one upstate New York, Otisville. But we get to MCC Brooklyn, and now that's when you know it's real. Guys you seeing on 2020, the guy, and guys you seeing on the news, and our case they considered high security.
Right.
So they sent me to the high security floor. Y'all understand what that is? You
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So they sent me to a high security floor.
Maximum security.
Maximum security.
Okay.
So I get up there. It's the dorm. The first dorm I went to was where John Gotti was.
Okay.
And that morning, right, I get on the, we trained from the streets how to operate in jail. In Brownsville, they teach you how to, I hate to say it, but your friend's conversation, when I was locked up, this and that, the phone.
Right.
That's a show of power, the phone.
Who can control the
Who
phone?
can control the phone?
Right.
But it's different in the feds, but I didn't know this. So the first thing I do, but I really had to make calls.
Right.
And by now I got the cast on my arm.
Right.
But now I had to go get medical. So
Right.
I got a cast on my arm. And the first thing I do is go on the phone. And the guy, the matter of fact, no, I made a mistake. I wasn't on the high security floor yet.
Okay.
First floor they sent me to, I get on the phone, and a Spanish dude, I was on there for like 20 minutes. Spanish dude come up, and he said, "Yo, that's my time." And I look at him, I'm like, yeah, okay, this gonna be my example in my mind. And he comes up, this is his phone, and this is his time.
Right.
So I say, cool. So but he left and came back. So when he came back, the girl I'm talking to, I was like, yo, if the phone cut off, no, don't even worry about it. And he came, he's like, yo, and he was aggressive about it. He's like, yo, I told you this is my time, get off the phone. And he's just walking up. And that back then it was the metal wires that attached to the phone, the payphone.
Right.
And I did catch him with the phone, but the wire made it bounce back. So I caught both of us, because when it bounced back, it hit me. It hit me in the head. But anyway, I didn't know that they had tension with the black and Spanish. I didn't know that on the floor. And he run in the corner, and when I do that, it set it off. So I'm wondering why, when dudes, I'm only 135 pounds.
Wow.
I'm wondering why the dude backing in the corner no. I'm like, man, this easy? I look behind me, and 10 black dudes was behind me go ahead. So, but he didn't.
He didn't want no smoke.
He didn't want the smoke, but I didn't know something was going on.
Right.
So you know what I'm saying. But matter of fact, they kicked me off that floor immediately, and they sent me. That's when they sent me to the high security floor, where they said, well, you weren't supposed to be on that floor anyway. And I get up there with the floor John Gotti in the morning, and I do the same. The same thing. That phone, I was a phone addict, addiction to the phone.
Right.
I get up there, I do the same thing, and but what they did with me, the dudes was basically leave me alone. And when the counselor came in, the counselor pulled me in his office. Counselor ended up being a captain, so this dude was a counselor. He ended up being a captain at Coleman.
Right.
When I got there, but he told me, he said, "Yo, we already know who you are. We know your case." He said, "But I got somebody who want to see you." And it was a guy from the other counsel on the other side of the floor.
Okay.
Was from Brownsville. And he came over and he said, "Yo, we're not gonna do this. I'm gonna bring you to my floor, and you're gonna be cool, man." So I was like, but this was so different. I'm like,
right.
I was really shocked. Man,
this can't be federal prison.
Yeah, this can't be jail. So they sent me to the other side, and immediately it was like Mike Tyson said this one time. I get there, and there's so many people I know. I'm like, dang. And a lot of that stuff I did was out of fear too.
Right.
Part of it be fear.
Right.
And the fear factor is like I gotta make my, like
Yeah.
I gotta
I
gotta establish.
We know
that.
as correction officers, that you gotta create a stance. You gotta you gotta set the tone and let them know who you are. Because
Yes.
you don't want to get tried.
Yes, you explained it exactly what it is.
Right.
So when you see a dude, and now I know in life, when you see a dude talking loud, 90% of the time he just talking.
Right. Absolutely.
But with like doing time with Sammy the Bull, before he flipped,
Mm-hmm.
I spent more time on that. That was the floor where I told you the council from Brownsville was.
Right.
So I spent a lot of time on that floor, and meeting Sammy the Bull. Sammy the Bull. That's the dorm I was brought into. But once he got us, me and my other co-defendant in the dorm, he took a liking to my other co-defendant like a son.
Mm-hmm.
And okay, I'm talking Sammy the Bull pre whatever he did.
Right.
And pre whatever he did, he was a tough motherfucker. No, serious.
Right.
He used to train boxers. I didn't. People don't know that he used to train boxers.
Wow.
So, I met Iran Barkley, Buddy McGirt on visits.
Mm-hmm.
Him training boxers.
Okay.
But then, so he used to be like 10 of us, and my co-defendant he took a liking to was total opposite of me. He was like 6'3", 200-something pounds, solid, young dude.
Mm-hmm.
He was the youngest on our case. He was 18.
Okay.
So strong. Sammy the Bull used to spar. We used to have them punching bag
Right.
gloves, but we used to spar with him. He used to spar with 10 of us.
Mm.
I'm gonna say around 10 of us. And dudes knew how to throw their hands and everything, but he used to spar with 10 of us. Like 2, 3, that was his workout. Sparring with us. And I'm talking about, we was just for the body, but it's things like he was sweating and wet in the bag gloves, and you hit him. You're trying to hit him in his body,
right?
And they slip up and hit him in his chin. I did that a bunch of times, and he'll be like, "I'll stop though," like, "Yo, pardon me." No, don't stop, don't stop. That ain't
like that wasn't nothing for him, right?
Yeah, so so when he did that, when he flipped, it was like, wow. But he used to bring blacks into the dorm.
Okay.
He had the police, one of the police on lock.
Right.
He used to have blacks sent to his dorm, blacks and Spanish, young blacks and Spanish. And one day I asked him like, "Yo, why you?" Because a black dude came and he asked, "Did I know him?"
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, "Nah." I was like, "Why you always ask that?" He was like, "Nah, I'd rather keep y'all around me because I never did business with y'all.
Mm.
So if the feds are gonna send somebody at me, it's gonna be my own.
Right.
I don't want my own around me."
Wow.
And I didn't see when I seen that, I was like, wow. He had a 2-man cube,
right?
And he kept one Italian. That's the only Italian he kept in there was the one he had in that cube.
Mm.
Every other Italian was in another.
So it's just strategizing how if they came at him, they could only come at him in a way that he can see it before
he
it's
can
coming.
see it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely understand that. So so you shared with us about Sammy the Bull and what it was like to be in prison, and you having a couple of fights. So how, as far as protection, did you ever see yourself coming out of there in one piece? Did you ever get to the point to where you were just like, man, I cannot do this prison time. It's like, it's too much for me. There's riots going on. How do I get up out of here sooner than what they gave me? So what was that mindset like?
Well, see, when we like I said, I grew up in prison. You might as well say,
right?
During the time I grew up in prison. So when I came in there, by the time I got to by the time I got out of holdover fighting my case,
mm-hmm.
and the whole time fighting my case, we And we're having fun. Because, and I'm going to tell you why. Because we actually thought that they don't have nothing.
Right.
There's no way we're going to get the time.
Right.
We're going to get time off of this.
Mm.
You know, we wasn't on top of our case. We wasn't doing nothing we were supposed to be doing.
Right.
You know? And once again, we're around people from our environment.
Right.
So, but when we got sentenced, for me, when I got sentenced, it got serious. You know,
that's when
it got serious.
It got real serious.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this
Like,
is it.
wow. And
this is my new reality.
And the effects. And I'm okay. My example of why I got in the game, what got me in the game, is not an excuse.
Mm.
And I don't want the youth to think that it's all right to be in the game. And I'm gonna tell you now, the effects of that was a horrible decision. Because there's a whole bunch of other people seeing the same thing, but they didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? So I just want to get that out the way before people go to glorifying something that's, listen, this was a ugly journey. And the reason it was an ugly journey is not only because of what I did to my life, but because of what I did to my mother, my daughter. Imagine my daughter, she was, I think when I got locked up, she was 18 months. When people don't look at this,
how decisions you make will affect your future and
yes.
people that surround you and love you.
When I got out, she was almost graduating high school.
Wow.
People don't imagine so if you in that game, look at your baby every day, and you better kiss her and love her as much as you can, because you don't know the next. I never got to take my daughter to school, the kindergarten, Head Start. I never got that. And people, so we don't understand what happens with our family, why the black family structure is the way it is. You know what I'm saying? My daughter had to grow up without a father. With a mother, her mother was attracted to what? Drug dealers. Drug dealers.
Right.
I'm a drug dealer.
Right.
I was a drug dealer.
Right.
Her mother is attracted to drug dealers. So this is what I subjected my daughter to.
Right.
I subjected my mother to running up in prisons and visiting me, because I couldn't, I got in trouble and got sent to Atlanta. I couldn't tell her, Ma, I told her, Ma, don't come see me.
Right.
I think 3 weeks in, she's there. I could tell her not to come see me.
Right.
So when that was one of the turning points in my journey.
Right.
Where I seen what I was putting my family through. I get in trouble, something I could have avoided. I get in trouble. They ship me out. They ship me to Atlanta.
Right.
So I had never been to Atlanta free.
Wow.
So so they shipped me to Atlanta. So now that my mother has to pay, I don't know how much money to come to Atlanta. So my daughter, like I said, growing up with your father there but not there, that's worse.
Right.
With your father there but not there, and or you could send. I don't care. I used to send money, send whatever I can.
Right.
And I used to write letters, and stuff like that. But when I got out, she had a whole different reality.
Right.
I'm thinking, I'm being a father for me. You can't be no. You could do what you can do. But what these children need, you cannot be from jail. So you subject your family to the hell you put yourself in. Basically, you subject your family to it. And I mean, all my brothers, my sisters, all of them went through it with me.
Right.
I got visits from all my family in there. So that so I had a good support system. I know people didn't get no visits.
And Jahmal, that's the point where I said I have to get you on the show, because I want you to share your story. People hear it from correction officers, which I am one. We see this every day. This is what we see when I go to work. This is the stories that I'm seeing. This is stories that I'm hearing. I'm seeing the visits that's coming from the parents, that's coming from, maybe the girlfriends or the wives, and the children are always there. So that support system is there. A lot of people don't have that support system. And I feel like without that support system, maybe you wouldn't have turned out the person that you are today. Getting to talk with you, getting to know your story, seeing how you've overcome being in federal prison, being in riots that could have taken you out. Just being a ex drug dealer that could have been shot up or killed or robbed and killed or just any situation. So you have a special story, and so within hearing all of this, like knowing that support system was there, you're given a second chance. Being released after how many years? 16?
16 and a half.
16 and a half years of doing hard federal prison time. You going in at what age? 20 years old. So man, that's you've accomplished so much since that time within hearing your story. Like, how are you becoming an influencer to other people that may have taken that wrong route and that ended up in prison? Like, what are some of the biggest things that you're doing to help other people adapt now that you're a free man?
Well, the biggest thing you can do is, first thing you got to do when I got out, first thing I had to do was get on my feet. And I didn't. When I got out, it was a process.
Right.
Even your relationships, it was a process. And you just got to be strong. Thank God that my family was down here in Florida, because that eliminated a lot of the temptations. And guys who go back, right? I when I was in and I see a guy come back and I'm like, damn, man, I'm 16 years. I never, I ain't done all this time. I ain't get no chance. And this fool get out and he comes back. But everybody's situation is different.
Right.
And when I got out, I understood, like, it ain't, like, I'm prison is a society within a society.
Right.
So when you're in prison, as long as I was in, you get caught up in that society, and in order for me to cope, I had to cut the world off. Besides my immediate family, I didn't want to, even with some things with my immediate family, I didn't want to know what was going on. So sometimes when we get caught up in this process, now I went in a boy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I went in at a young age, so when I came out, I did mature, and I had, the biggest thing that made me mature, two things. Dealing with my grandmother dying in there. See, people don't tell you. These rappers, I know knock on the rapper, because you only tell them what you thinking or whatever.
Right.
But they don't tell you this part. I lost my grandmother in jail. And when I went to the counselor, I had too much time for to go to the funeral or anything. I went to the counselor, and the counselor said, well, he closed the door, gave me the phone, and my mother was able to tell me, hey, this is what happened. But he came, he told me, yo, you have death he just told me, he said, you have death in the family. We need you to call your mother, because my mother called the prison.
Right.
So I went, and she told me what happened, and I'm doing my thing, crying or whatever.
Right.
But I went back to the cell, and that night, I think it was a playoff game on. I was always big on sports.
Right.
And I had a spot in the TV room where, so dudes come like, hey, Jimbo, you're not coming down, to watch the game? So I say, nah. So my partner, this dude, now I'm gonna say my partner, you develop brotherhoods in there.
Absolutely.
So dude, but he seen something was wrong. He closed the door. He's like, yo, what's up? And I said, man, I just lost my grandmother. He closed the door. I'm thinking he went and watched the game. Before lockdown, they done found a card, and the whole unit signed the card, and dudes walking by the cell now, yo man, So it was a little brotherhood, but imagine dealing with that. I had to deal with that. I had to, you know what I'm saying? So how people deal, like the young lady, with the sports young lady talking about dealing, I didn't have to deal with that, so I'm not even gonna compare that. But just dealing with death, like I had to deal with that in the cell. my right hand man, my co-defendant, my
Right.
brother, dude, we was on the streets together. This is my brother. He
Right.
died in jail.
Wow.
That became a life sentence for him. You never know what tomorrow holds.
Right.
That became a life sentence for him. We was, and the bad part about it, they under the Bush administration, a law came out that chopped out. I had 27 years. It chopped me down to 17 and a half. Off of that, 16 and a half.
Right.
So I'm thinking now. Last conversation we had was that right after we got that chopped down, and I'm
Right.
like, yo, we gonna see each other again on the streets and this and that and this and that. But he didn't make it. This became a life sentence for him.
Right.
He came in the same age I came in. You know what I'm saying? So imagine what he had a family who was supporting him too.
Right. And
Imagine
looking forward to him getting out.
Right. Imagine what his family went through.
Right.
His son and my daughter are cousins, first cousins, because we have babies by sisters.
Right.
I know what his son. His son seen him. His son seen him as a ghetto legend, superstar.
Right.
And I talked to his. Unfortunately, his son got locked up too. And that's something that I don't I don't get a chance to talk about. But that's something that I sent his son. Message to the Black Man.
Okay.
Rich Dad Poor Dad,
Okay.
The Coldest Winter Ever, and another financial book. I think Think and Grow Rich
Okay. By Napoleon Hill.
by Napoleon Hill.
Right.
And what I was doing was sending him something to educate him on himself.
Okay.
Rich Dad Poor Dad is a good book to get you to understand investment.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah, Robert Kiyosaki.
Right.
Coldest Winter Ever was, hopefully that was his first book so he could get into reading.
Right.
And there's a message in Coldest Winter Ever. That's by a sister soldier.
Okay.
Good book. And the Think and Grow Rich was just another financial book. With me, it's about, if you want to change your situation, you have to educate yourself on finance. They don't teach us this in school. So I don't mean college. I don't knock that stuff.
Right.
Education is education, great, but if you want to get ahead financially, you have to understand. You have to understand the basics, of making your money work for you instead of you working for the money.
Absolutely.
But we have to
teach you in school.
Right,
In
what
college,
they teach us in school, right?
Go out, get a good education, get a good job, work hard for your money.
Work hard for your money.
Versus work smart for your money. Allow your money to go out and make you more money.
Right. And I know the mindsets of these kids. These kids are geniuses. We were all geniuses, but we weren't taught. We could, like I said, I watched somebody and was able to put myself in his shoes when I got the chance.
Right.
Nobody had to teach me how to do that. I did that off of watching.
Right.
So if somebody taught me something positive, I know I'd blow up. And my co-defendant's son got out, and this was like gold for me. This is like he gave me a plate of gold. He got out and he said, man, he called me and he FaceTimed me, and I'm like, who the hell is this?
Right.
He looked so different because he grew a beard. So I'm
Right.
like, who the hell is this? And he's like, yo, this is Yogi, man. That's what we call him, nickname. He's like, yo, I'm like, yo, what's up? He's like, yo, man, I wanted to thank you for the books.
Wow.
Yo, and not only did he thank me for the books, but he's told me how he started. He's like, yo, he told me parts of the books that I forgot.
Yeah, you forgot. You ain't even know.
Yeah, I'm like, wow. But that was like, he gave me a plate of gold, man.
Right.
And that's something I want to start. That's something I'm gonna start too. When I get in, that's something I'm gonna start is a book club.
Okay.
For guys about to get. They ain't even got to be about to get out. I just want a book club because I know when I was in there, this is what got me to. This is what made me read. My mother sent me Coldest Winter Ever.
Mm.
When she sent it to me, my cellmate read it before me, and then I was reading another book, so he passed it on. Man, everybody was coming to me for books. For that Coldest Winter Ever.
Right.
I hadn't even read it. I said, let me read this. I read that. That thing was so good. I read it in like 2 days.
Wow.
You know, so I know how books are passed around in there.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I had a book. I had a bookstore because I used to have people sending me
in prison. You had
I had a bookstore.
Wow.
Because people was coming to me for books,
Right.
but then they start damaging your books.
Well, that's when you charge them.
That's when I start charging them. So now I start charging them, you know, like, yo, you
Right.
want to hold it? Okay, give me a pack of cigarettes.
Right.
I didn't smoke, so.
Right. But it was just
I'm a hustler. Let me show
trade,
you. Let me show you.
barter and trade within the system.
Let me show you what I did. Pack of cigarettes, right? Eventually, them packs of cigarettes turned into a carton.
Mm-hmm.
When I had enough cartons, I started a store with cigarettes.
Mm.
So that one pack of cigarettes led. I think the same thing with magazines.
Right.
You start giving them out. People come back, and of course a page gonna be missing.
Right.
All right. And we had a place we used to order them from because the mom ain't sending me no damn magazines. But hold on, we got off a little bit. But basically, coming out, it was a challenge because when I was coming out, I'm expecting the world to accept me with open arms.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a plan.
Right.
But part of my plan, I was the NAACP. I was the president. I started the NAACP chapter in Coleman.
Okay.
So they made me the president. So coming out, I'm actual NAACP president.
Oh wow.
So, because when we went to one of the NAACP events,
right,
I sat at the table with the president. The lady was like, "No, you sit over here." My godmother, she helped me when I got out.
Okay.
But anyway, you get out in a job. I'm thinking I was supposed to get a job with the NAACP, a paid position, which is over the prison project. But then they said I didn't have a degree or something. So,
right.
Well, it was red tape. So I was like, all right, cool. I'll get another job.
Right.
Bruh, you know how many no's I got?
I
don't have no job history. I didn't even have ID. I had a prison ID.
Right.
It took me about 2 months to get my ID straight.
Mm.
So I had a lot of obstacles, but thank God I did have a plan.
Right.
I had goals, everything written out. I should have bought that, but I had a plan. I had everything written out. And that's from reading them books. They say you got to write it starts writing it down. And I had my everything I wanted to do written down. And I looked on it was just paper because I couldn't see. I'm like, man, how am I do this?
Where do I start at and how do I get started? Yeah.
I'm in the halfway house. I get a job at the bagel factory over there on Mercer Drive, over there behind Mercer Drive, and that was my first job, and my first check was like $200 and something. What I got off of my first check was like $200 and something, and I got to get the halfway house. Got to get theirs. I really wasn't getting nothing. Taxes. I didn't really know about taxes or nothing.
Right.
So I got my first check, and I'm like, damn. I'm looking at this paper, looking at the check. I'm like,
this don't add up.
Yeah, this ain't adding up. So I just move forward. But then I worked like 3 weeks, and I told the dude, hey, when's my off day?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have an off day.
Wow.
He said it so nasty. I still had part of the prison mindset.
Right.
I was like, I ain't got an off day. Well, I'm gonna make me some off day. I quit.
Right.
I was like, I can't do that, man.
Yeah.
So one of my plans was to get my CDL.
Okay.
So I'm talking about it was a lot of jobs, and we did it at the halfway house. If somebody get a lead to a job that hired felons, we all went.
Right.
So I got a job, and they through the job I got my CDL, and when I got my CDL, that's when life kind of changed for me because Now I'm making money.
Right.
Making decent money.
Right.
And I see where I could make more money.
Right.
Eventually get my own truck. That was my plan. That was written in my goals. CDL was like a secondary thing just to get on my feet. And it happened that way, but it didn't happen in the order I thought it would happen.
Right.
And then investment, I was like, man, in 6 months I want to have this amount of houses and this and this and that.
Right.
And this was stuff I was reading that I can do. So I had education. I educated myself, but it's different doing it in the book.
Right.
So I had to come out, and like I said, opportunities too. I didn't know nobody in Orlando. So where if I was in New York, I probably could have followed that paper the way I had it. But now I just it didn't happen that way. So but the struggle, the struggle. I just kept with the course, and my little brotherhood. Like one of us get a job, the other put the other on. This job is making money.
Right.
And I seen a dude in the club that I was locked up with, and he was at a job that was making a lot more money than we was making.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, yo, he got us on. So but I had to get my CDL. I had to put myself in position to do other things. And there's guys got out, had the same struggle I had. I had a friend that had the same struggle I had. He did lawn work in prison.
Right.
So he came out. And his fiance financed him some lawn equipment. She said, "Would you do it out here?" She said, "Yeah." So he quit the job he was at, got the lawn equipment.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't turn back. And there's so many. I think we have just as many positive stories as we have about people going back. But just like everything else, we're not going to, and this will help the culture, this will help these young guys.
Mm-hmm.
They're not hearing about wind it up. They're not hearing about that. They're hearing about the negativity.
Yeah.
Can I say one thing before?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I want you to, let us know what you have here and
this
your products. And
this is my
everything.
baby's, my daughter's clothing line, Manelli Rose.
Okay.
MANELLI Rose.com. You go look at her merch, and this is one of her T-shirts.
Okay.
And want to shout out to my family, my mother, my support system, my friends. Hello, I'm off. Oh, and I just wanted to say this, right? This is my partner. Another guy in prison, from prison. That's why he says FCK prison.
Okay.
But he has that's his clothing line.
All right.
But I just wanted to say this, that we as blacks, first of all, we have to be proud of who we are, and we can't allow anybody to write our history they can eliminate our history in schools, but that's not where we're supposed to be learning history anyway. We're supposed to learn our history in the home. We can't allow them to allow us to eliminate our heroes, or our people we're supposed to be looking up to.
Right.
I'm not Nation of Islam. I'm a Christian, but there's no way that you have all these posts about Juneteenth and this and that, and you even have what's our vice president name? His sister, Kamala Harris. I'm sorry, but you have Kamala Harris' name on your post with a whole bunch of other people, or Barack Obama, this and that.
Right.
There's no way Farrakhan is alive and has done so much for us as a people. There's no way that he's not in every one of them posts. There should be no history that's done without his name in it right now, because he is Black history. He is one of the people who didn't stray. He taught us. I learned about Juneteenth almost 20, 30 years ago through Farrakhan. So let's not allow, because trust me, They're not going to let us write Trump out of history. And we witnessed the history he did, and he wasn't good. But they're not going to. When you say Trump, they're going to defend him. You say Farrakhan. Matter of fact, blacks have to whisper that they even back Farrakhan if they back him. You know, and that's not only for Farrakhan, for any of our historians. We got to start teaching our kids about where they came from. That's the disconnect. We don't know where we came from, so we don't know where we're going. There's a big disconnect. Kids don't feel they could go to their elders, but that's all I wanted to say. That's a whole big.
Yeah, we'll definitely come back again and talk about more subjects that definitely will put our younger youth in a position where they can win, where they can see, role models that's doing the things that we're doing. You, a successful truck driver, purchased a home, entrepreneur, myself as well, getting into podcasting, doing a lot of different things. So you have role models within the community that you can look up to, that you can attach yourself to, that you can ask questions and grow within your community, and knowing that, you have a safe house that you can go to someone and get the answers that you need, or you can see role models that are doing something that you possibly want to do, and then you can get some mentorship or some coaching along the way. So that's what we're here for. That's why I wanted Jahmal Rose to come on to tell his story, because not only to hear the bad and the ugly part of it, but to see the success story that he has created for himself, right? He had to write his own book. And within a book, you see what he went through. But at the end of the book, that's what matters. From the beginning to the end, you see a significant change and something that he can be proud of, and something that not only missing the time with his daughter, now he's rebonding and nourishing that relationship with his mom, with his daughter, with that support system that was there. He's letting them know, hey, I didn't forget about what you guys did. I didn't forget about the support that you gave me. Now I'm giving it back. I'm paying it forward. So that's what it's all about. With the Hymes Hemp Education Podcast, guys, you never know what you're going to get, right? You never know if it's going to be just education on CBD, hemp, and medical marijuana, or a life-changing story like you just heard from my brother-in-law, Jahmal Rose. So are there any last comments that you want to say, or maybe, again, tell them where they can get the t-shirt or the clothing?
ManelliRose.com. I got to get more information on this is Sean, a guy named Sean Hartwell. He started this.
All right.
Yeah, but I got to get more of his information.
Okay.
But I mean, there's a lot of us doing so much, man. So the same energy we put into the negative, let's put it into supporting black-owned businesses. You know what I'm saying? If you see somebody doing something, especially a t-shirt, I mean, you ain't got to change your whole wardrobe if you don't want to, but if you're gonna buy, before you buy a Gucci t-shirt, go buy Manelli Rose, or go buy Sean Hart. There's all millions of people selling t-shirts. Let's keep whatever. But I'm saying that for whatever, and I'm not saying don't buy from no other people. You know what I'm saying? That's it can be done, but that's ludicrous right now. But let's start by buying one thing. Let's start by buying one thing that you use, black owned. Let's start there.
All right. With that being said, guys, thanks for listening in. Catching another episode of Hymes Hemp Education Podcast, where you can follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Guys, go follow us. Put in the comments, hey, I watched your episode. It was great. Let us know what you think about it. And then, also maybe give us some tips on something else that you would like to hear about. But with that being said, guys, we'll see you on the next episode.